Welcome back, everybody, to episode 9 of So Many Screens, a pop culture podcast brought to you by Washed Media. I'm your host, J.R. Hickey, coming to you from Palm Springs, California. I'm joined, as always, by the very lovely, her life is anything but a rom-com, Cat Pat. How we doing?
I'm good. Back in my childhood bedroom again, as you can see.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, you can't see.
We've seen a lot of your childhood bedroom. Actually, this is probably the first time people have seen it, because this is only our second video podcast.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the bright teal walls, the bookshelf behind me. It's a whole damn mess.
Yeah, and I'm in our guest bedroom at the house in Palm Springs. You can see there's a lot of wicker behind me. I wasn't the one who chose the wicker, but the house is straight out of 1983, so it's kind of a time capsule to the 80s, hence all the wicker.
Wicker's in, though.
Yeah, wicker is making a comeback, for sure.
It is.
We have a lot to talk about. First off, we have a lot coming up. A little bit of a teaser for the listeners of So Many Screens. September is like jam-packed. We are going to be doing some Boys Season 2 talk. We're going to be doing some Mulan / maybe a Disney week. We have the Emmys coming up towards the end of September. Tons of Emmys coverage. We'll probably do some Emmys predictions and do an Emmys after show. And then what comes up at the end of September, Tate?
Spooky season.
Spooky season is back, and So Many Screens is going to cover it. So the circling back guys, they'll probably quarterback a lot of the spooky season stuff, but we'll do our best to cover off on some movies and shows. I don't know about you. I'm a pussy when it comes to this stuff. I'm terrible with scary things. So that's a little more up your alley, isn't it?
Yeah. See, I'm not like a big gory scary person, but I like more like fucked up scary movies. Like I love the two movies I wanted to watch. Hereditary, big fan. Midsummer, big fan. They're not super gory, but you'll see they're just a little disturbing. So that's my speed.
We'll have to do a Hereditary versus Midsummer episode, segment, something like that. I've seen neither, so I'm looking forward to watching that by myself, terrified, probably at 1 o'clock in the morning after my wife goes to bed. On a different note, though, we're doing something the opposite of scary season this week. We're doing rom-com week. We were like, what's something light? What's something fun? We can just kind of like ease into this crazy month of September. We landed on rom-coms. We were trying to decide on a rom-com to watch together, and there are just so many that we couldn't come up with one, could we?
No. Yeah, we were going to watch one, and we kind of watched the trailer, and we're like, maybe not. So yeah. We both watched one, and yeah, I mean, I really liked the one I watched, so I'm excited.
So did I. And we'll get into, so we each have like a dissection breakdown of 2 separate rom-coms we watched, as well as our top 5 favorite rom-coms. That will be discussed this week. However, before we do that, we have to talk about the Batman trailer. Seems like I'm all over the place right now, but the internet was like ablaze yesterday. We're recording this on Sunday. This is Saturday. I'm talking about. So over the weekend, DC Fandom happened. It was a live digital experience that DC Comics did. They released trailers, teasers, and artwork for all their upcoming works for their pretty massive fan base of all their stuff, comic book fans, movie fans alike. So we got to see like a behind-the-scenes trailer for the new Suicide Squad movie, saw some video game footage, saw artwork for a new superhero movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson called Black Adam. But all anybody could really talk about, Kate, was the trailer for the Matt Reeves 2021 film The Batman starring Robert Pattinson. Kate, what did you think about this trailer?
It was good. My brother, we all watched that thing you do last night as a family. And so my brother after was like, we got to put on this trailer for this movie. And I had no idea what it was. Of course, my mom's like, while we're watching it and we don't know what it is, she's like, what is this? Who's that? Is this the Batman? Oh, it's got to be Batman. I'm like, can you just watch the damn trailer?
Shout out to Susan. Thanks for listening, as always, Susan. Greg.
Yeah, thanks for hosting me this weekend. What was I going to say? Yeah, the trailer looks really good. I'm excited. And very cool that the movie's still in production. I didn't realize that.
According to Matt Reeves, the director, according to the director, he had such little footage from the shoot due to the suspension because of COVID, that this was basically all he could show. And if this is all he can show, we are in for a completely different Batman. This is not like dark and gritty in the sense that like, ooh, Christian Bale is doing a deep voice. Dark and gritty as in this looks like a detective novel. It's like, it's like super slow with some really violent moments. We've got an incredible cast. Zoe Kravitz is playing Catwoman. Jeffrey Wright, who's killing it right now on Westworld, plays James Gordon. Paul Dano, your boy, is playing the Riddler. And then did you recognize who's playing Penguin, the overweight guy with the saggy jowls who's like, looks like a monster? Do you know who that was?
Yes, I saw. It's Colin Farrell. That's crazy.
Colin Farrell has like turned like this latter half of his career into this like victory lap. He's doing these like characters that you would never expect like a charming, handsome Irish actor to do. It's incredible. According to Matt Reeves, this is going to be like the year 2 of Batman. So, with the Christopher Nolan series, with even the Justice League movies, you had Batman at his full strength. He's a billionaire. He's got the Batcave. No, you're good. You can sneeze on a live video. No one cares.
Sorry.
You're
Keep
good.
going.
Yeah. What Matt Reeves said is this is basically like the Robert Pattinson version of Batman is like he's just learning how to become Batman. He's like in his sophomore year of being Batman and what that's like, which is, I think, a really fresh, interesting take because you always see the Bruce Wayne Batman as like this 45-year-old billionaire who's been Batman for 10, 20 years and is ready to get out of the game. This is going to be a younger, maybe a little bit more immature Batman who's trying to figure it all out. So I'm pumped. Yeah,
it looks really good. Hot emo Batman. I'm sure we'll see a lot of that. Actually, I was going to say on Halloween, but it won't be out. I don't think we'll have a Halloween anyway. But yeah, Halloween 2021, I'm sure we'll have a lot of Robert Pattinson Batman. And also, I'm not like a huge DC Comics fan. Like, I don't know much about the storylines. I thought Catwoman was a superhero. I didn't know she was a villain.
Yeah, I think it plays differently. Now, I'm no comic book like super fan. I know I'll have someone correct me, but I think it's, it's a comic book universe. They switch sides all the time. One year they team up, another year they're kind of against each other. If you remember The Dark Knight Rises, Anne Hathaway, let's do a shout out to Anne Hathaway, who we seem to bring up every single episode.
I know.
She starts off as like a rival to Bruce Wayne, and then towards the end of the movie, like ends up siding with him, and then they end up falling in love, apparently. That eye makeup, that's very memeable. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is going to set the internet on fire. He looks very emo.
Yeah, there was already some memes going around. Do you know a song, The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance?
Yes, I do.
There was like memes already going on with like those lyrics of the picture, the zoomed in shot of Batman with the makeup, and just like the memes going around were saying, "I'm vengeance." I don't know. It took the Twitter sphere by storm last night.
Speaking of Twitter sphere, if you guys haven't yet, please follow @SoManyScreens on Instagram and Twitter. Kate is killing it with the memes, killing it with the content. I hop on there every once in a while and post stuff, and Kate just blows me out of the water. So I'm glad to have her on board the socials. Check those out. Give them a follow if you haven't yet.
Yeah, @SoManyScreens. And don't forget to review and rate.
Oh, yeah. We haven't gotten a 5-star review in a while. If you liked last week's episode with David Ruff, we talked about Project Power, the Netflix original movie. We talked about what animal superpowers we'd want to have. Check out that episode. Leave us a 5-star review if you're digging the show. And get ready for a shit ton of content in September. What else? That's it. Why don't we do our rom-com thing?
Woo, okay. Should I go first? You want to go first?
You go first. Ladies first. Rom-com,
okay.
That's the deal. So you watched a rom-com this weekend. Tell me what it was. Tell me about your viewing experience. Sell it to me.
So I actually watched it today. I watched Always Be My Maybe on Netflix. Have you seen this?
Yeah. Randall Park and Ali Wong, both Bay Area natives. Or maybe just Ali Wong is a Bay Area native. But great movie.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. And for some reason, I thought it was more recent than May 2019. But the storyline, I won't give away any like major plot points or spoilers, but the storyline is two best friends named Sasha and Marcus, and they grow up together. Sasha spends a lot of time at Marcus's house. Whatever, they're best friends. They grow up. They kind of lose touch after high school. They have a falling out, and she becomes this famous chef, and he's just kind of like the stoner guy who still lives at home. He's in a band. And I think he installs air conditioning units or central air. So not much going for him. But the movie's really cute. It just follows them like in their adult years, like rekindling their friendship. There's, I don't know. I don't want to give away like a major thing that happens, but it's really cute. I was very happy.
Yeah. Ali Wong is a Bay Area stand-up comedy legend. She's spoken about in the Bathtub Comedy Clubs with hushed reverence. She's pops in and shows all the time. She's one of the like figures that brought Bay Area comedy to the forefront, along with Dave Chappelle, Robin Williams, these types of people. I think the movie does a really good job of showcasing San Francisco as like a character. Shows the diversity, really outstanding performances, like features authentic Bay Area restaurants, locations, homes, and an incredible celebrity cameo by Keanu Reeves. We cannot bring up this movie without talking about the 18 minutes in the middle of the movie where Keanu Reeves swoops in and just takes over.
Yeah, that was in my notes too. Keanu Reeves cameo. That was insane. Like that whole section of the movie where he's in, I was like, what the fuck is happening? He plays himself. Spoiler alert. Yeah. But he's definitely a character. But yeah, I mean, like with rom-coms, it's very hit or miss for me. I will either like think it's super, super corny, like with the movie we were gonna cover.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer. I was like, oh no, I don't know if this is for me. It's a little slapsticky. Yeah. So it takes a lot to hold my attention. But I thought it was very cute, funny, heartwarming. Like, I don't know. I thought it was really good for what it was. I would probably go see it in theaters.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that if it had been in theaters, I feel, this is me making a prediction based on having absolutely no knowledge of the fact, it could have done a similar thing to what Crazy Rich Asians did. Now, Crazy Rich Asians is like based on a very famous book that like was a global bestseller, so it wouldn't get the type of scale that Crazy Rich Asians did, but might have as like passionate of a following or fan base, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, that's one I've never seen.
You've never seen Crazy Rich Asians?
No, I know. I heard it's really good. It's on my list, but my list is like a mile long right now.
Let's be honest. I mean, we're the host of so many screens. There's so many options out there. We're just trying our best here. No. I'll talk about the movie I watched, and then I want to talk, before we get into our top 5, I want to talk about what makes a good rom-com, in your opinion. So noodle on that for a few minutes while I go into my spiel here. So I watched a movie. It's not exactly new. It's from 2015. It's a movie called Man Up. It's a 2015 British romantic comedy film starring Lake Bell and Simon Pegg. Are you familiar with the work of Simon Pegg?
The name rings a bell. A Lake Bell? No, the name does ring a bell, though.
So Lake Bell is a very successful New York actress. She was in How to Make It in America. She's been in a movie about her life called What in a World, but Simon Pegg is the one half of the comedy duo responsible for the incredible British blockbuster / comedies Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. He also plays Scotty in the Star Trek movies, and he plays your boy's dad in The Boys.
Huey Campbell.
Huey Campbell, thank you. Yeah. So he plays Huey Campbell's dad in The Boys. Had to cut there for a quick Google search between the two of us. Simon Pegg is, in my opinion, one of the most brilliant filmmakers and comedians in the world. He's kind of got his hands in all these different like pots. So seeing him play a straight up like guy in a rom-com was really interesting to me. And what's great about this movie is not only the runtime, which is 88 minutes flat Kate.
Mhm.
Not even an hour and a half. It's an hour and 25 minutes. I watched it last night at midnight, was in bed by 1:30. It's a very, very, very simple plot.
That's
a
good.
woman named Late Bell. A woman played by Late Bell named Nancy is standing under a clock in in Waterloo Station, and she's holding a self-help book. She gets mistaken for Simon Pegg, who plays a character named Jack's blind date that he's trying to meet. He read the same self-help book. And the first 30 minutes are them going on a blind date, thinking that one person is a different person. I don't know if I explained that well, but it's such a simple premise. And it's one of those things where you think that like she's going to keep up this lie for the entirety of the movie, and it's just going to stress you out. And you're going to be like, well, this is so unrealistic. But what I like about it is that after like 25 minutes, she just owns up to it. She's like, oh, by the way, I'm not that person. And then they kind of deal with the fallout of that. And it's really fun, and it's really light, and it stays within this extremely simple world of like two people. She's trying to rush home to get to a family party. He's trying to find this girl that he was supposed to go on this blind date with, and that's it. I think with rom-coms, there's this problem where they all go, oh, we got to add all these extra plots. We got to add this whole other thing where she goes out of the country and tries to become a pastry chef or some bullshit. Like, it doesn't have any of that. It's super lean. All the fat is stripped of it, and it has an amazing cast. Late Bell, I mentioned, Simon Pegg. Here's a couple names you might recognize. John Bradley has a little cameo role. He plays Andy. This is Samuel Tarly from Game of Thrones.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Dean Charles Chapman plays Harry. This is Tommen Baratheon from Game of Thrones. And lastly, a woman who you may know by the name of Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays a friend of Nancy Late Bell's, a.k.a. the main character in Fleabag. Legend.
I literally just started that today.
You just started Fleabag?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw on my Instagram. I took a poll, like, what show should I start next? And Fleabag won by a long shot. I started it probably at like 5 o'clock tonight. So literally just started it.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is like not only one of the best writers, she's one of the best stage performers, one of the best actresses. She's one of the best talents we have right now. She's on the same level, in my opinion, of like a Donald Glover. So check it out, Man Up. It's on Amazon Prime. I think I had to actually rent it for $3, but it's really light. It's an easy like Sunday evening watch with your significant other. You don't cry during it. You don't care too much. You just watch these two people kind of run around London in a drunken frenzy, trying to figure out who the other person is. So yeah, that's my recommendation for the week.
Nice. I will add, I did cry at the end of Always Be My Baby. Which like says a lot because I tend not to cry during rom-coms, but you know, I shed a few tears just at the end. It was just really cute.
So that's a good transition. Does the makings of a good rom-com, like what are they? Does that mean that they make you cry? Does that mean that they make you laugh? Like what, in your opinion, what makes a good rom-com?
I think there has to be equal parts rom and com.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it's just a romance movie with like two funny lines.
Yeah.
Or it's just a comedy with like, I don't know. See, I was gonna add Legally Blonde to my top 5 rom-coms, but I was like, is there enough rom to be a rom-com?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I was thinking about that for a while, but I think there has to be equal parts. It's like how people say Die Hard's a Christmas movie. It's not a Christmas movie. It just takes place. Did I say a hot take?
This is the hot take. We'll wait till we do our Christmas content in December to have a break.
Well, okay, the thing is I've never even seen Die Hard, but it's like, you know, one of those fucking things.
Hold on a second. You haven't even seen it, and you're making these broad proclamations about it. Book It, a So Many Screens episode in December is Kate reviewing Die Hard and answering at the end of the episode whether or not it's a Christmas movie. Do you think Home Alone is a Christmas movie?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a difference between a Christmas movie and a movie that takes place around Christmas.
Okay.
That's my thing with rom-coms.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was my whole point of this whole story with Die Hard. Like it's either a rom-com or it's a romantic movie that has like minimal funny parts.
That's a good point. I think there's an important distinction to be made. I have a couple on my list that would probably veer more into the com than the rom. I do think, however, like, and you know, he says apprehensively, I'm a male, so I think they're a little more like, you know, the comedy part of it appeals more to me than the romantic part of it. I don't know if that's just a me thing. I don't mean to make a. What'd you say?
No, I kind of agree, but like when I think of rom com, I think of like the Meg Ryan movies.
Yes.
But then I also think of like a lot of Jennifer Aniston movies and Katherine Heigl. Like I don't know, like that. Those two, I feel like there's like eras of rom com. I don't know.
I think so. To your point, it has to be equal parts rom and com. I think it needs to be equal parts star power, because you have those romantic comedies where it's like Katherine Heigl and then some random asshole, some random like C-lister from the WB who got called up to the majors for one movie, and it doesn't work. You need Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis like going head to head, or you need Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. Like equal star wattage is important. You want to care and be invested about both characters. Because if it's like some really relatable star that you know very well and you have an intimate relationship and some asshole, you don't care about the relationship succeeding. It doesn't tug on your heartstrings in the same way, in my opinion.
That's true. Like I'm also thinking of In Normal People. I think we might have called it a rom-com, like in one episode. We're like, actually, it's definitely not. There's no comedy except for like Connell says one or two funny things, but you know what I'm saying? It'd
be like a rom
like
frown.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna cry my eyes out after this episode.
See, in like romance movies, now that I'm just thinking of like, I don't know, there's those stereotypical dumbass romantic movies where it takes place like on a ranch, like on a farm, and like it's like country love. I don't know. I can't think of one in particular, but like those they don't appeal to me at all.
And there are those movies that are just straight up roms. I think that's what you're describing. Like for example, The Notebook is like widely considered one of the best like romantic movies, but there isn't a single funny fucking thing that happens in it. I mean, there's like a few cute moments that McAdams and Gosling have, but like there's nothing that makes me want to return to it to laugh at some of my favorite parts.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about Always Be My Maybe, is that I thought it had a good amount of comedy in it. Like I think it's actually probably mostly comedy besides the general storyline. I don't know. Like it wasn't overwhelmingly romantic.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then after the break, we are going to do our top 5 romantic comedies, our personal top 5. It's not like the top 5 of all time. Okay, I think we're back. We're doing our top 5 rom-coms. Kate, who do you have first? Hold on, let me say that again. Who do you have as your number 1, but not your number 1 rom-com?
Yes. Okay. I will go with, these are again in no particular order for me, but I already mentioned this, but I'll say Legally Blonde because I don't know, like, is it a rom-com or is it more just comedy? Because there is a romantic. I'm going to say it's rom-com.
Yeah, sure.
Because the movie starts out with Elle Woods. You guys all know the storyline by now. So Elle Woods getting dumped on the night she thinks she's getting engaged by Warner. So there's that. And then she, proves herself and studies and gets into Harvard Law School somehow. And then she meets her new lover, who also happens to be like a TA at the school. So there's romance. But that movie just cracks me up. Like, I don't know. It's such an iconic film. She ends up becoming like top of her class. Warner sucks. He gets dumped by his new fiance. The girls become best friends. Great soundtrack. I mean, what's not to love?
The movie came out in 2001 and had a pretty minuscule budget of $18 million behind a pretty relatively new actress in Reese Witherspoon. Made $150 million. So she's a star immediately. 2001, that was a long fucking time ago. This movie still holds up. Still very funny. been spun off, had sequels. It's got a Broadway play behind it. I remember watching it like in high school, probably with a girlfriend, and not hating it because she's funny. Reese Witherspoon has that wattage thing that we were talking about. I can't believe I just did this with wattage, and that didn't look right. This video.
Right. I don't know. Yeah. It's like one of those movies. If there's nothing else on and it's on, I'll watch it. Or last time I was at my parents' house, we caught the movie about like 20 minutes into it, and we just watched the whole rest of the movie. I don't know. It's just one of those great movies you can put on when you don't know what else to watch, and it's always just a good time.
Yeah,
I love it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
My first favorite rom-com. Little movie called Crazy Stupid Love. I think this would actually be my number one. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I know. I haven't seen any of these freaking movies. It's bad.
This immediately has to move to the front of your queue, Kate, because this is one of the best, it's like one of the best, mid-level movies I've ever seen. You kind of go into it with very low expectations. You had Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei. This is a great cast. I don't really know what it's about. By the cover art, by the name, you're kind of like, what is it? Like people's lives falling apart. It's simply a man who gets divorced and he's trying to rediscover his manhood, and he's taught by a slick ladies man played by Ryan Gosling how to pick up women at bars. There is an all-time makeover sequence. I know you love a good makeover sequence, Kate.
I do.
All time between Gosling and Carell. They're at an outdoor mall in LA, and Gosling is walking around the mall with Steve Carell, who's wearing like his frumpy jeans and oversized polo. He's like a divorced guy in his 40s who hasn't had to spiff himself up ever. And Gosling is he gives a speech essentially that basically resonated with me and should resonate with every man. How as a man, you need 17 key items, and those 17 key items will dress you for the rest of your life. And it's really eye-opening and really cool. Emma Stone plays a aspiring medical student who's going through some issues with her boyfriend. She starts dating Ryan Gosling, the ladies' man, which causes the Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling character to drift apart. It's so interesting. It's such incredible performance. Marissa Tomei, who is so attractive, is hilarious in it. And Kevin Bacon plays the asshole, slimy guy who stole Steve Carell's wife from him. The resolution and there's a plot twist at the end of this movie are incredible. It literally makes you gasp out loud. There's a serious plot twist in the last 20 minutes, and you don't see it coming, and it is so good. I can't say enough about this movie. If you have not watched Crazy Stupid Love, watch it tonight.
I honestly might. Yeah. I mean, it's one I wanted to watch because I love basically everyone in that movie. But you know what? This is sidetracking. But one thing I do is when I really want to watch a movie, but or I don't want to watch it badly enough to rent it, I will go on IMDb and just read the synopsis. I know, it's so fucking lazy, and it just spoils the entire movie for me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that does this.
Do not read the synopsis of the movie. Just see it.
No, I won't. I like a good twist.
I think we've gotten to know each other enough over the past 10 episodes of So Many Screens where I can say this is the J.R. Hickey stamp of approval. Watch this type thing. And it's all downhill from here with the rest of my rom-coms.
Okay. I'll do my next one. 10 Things I Hate About You.
Classic.
The 1999 movie, which is loosely based off of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, which I just love that fun fact about it. It stars Heath Ledger,
R.I.P.
Julia Stiles, yes, R.I.P., Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I can't pronounce this, but she was big in the 90s. Larissa Oleynik.
I mean, if you want a callback, you know who she is? She is Alex Mack.
I know. What's with the Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Alex Mack
The universe, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
but I know. Well, basically, okay. So the movie, I don't know if most people, I would assume, have seen it by now. Covers this. What's the word I'm looking for? A tomboy, rebellious girl, Kat. and her younger sister, Bianca. Bianca is popular and pretty and wants to date, but her dad won't let her date until Kat starts dating. Kat wants to like fight the patriarchy and doesn't believe in, I don't know, dating and high school boys. She thinks they're all douches. Cameron, who's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, wants to date Bianca, and he hires Heath Ledger to date Kat so they can both start dating. I'm like talking with my hands a lot here. It's a very complicated storyline. There's also a douchebag character named Joey Donner.
Yeah.
But that movie, I mean, it's just another one of those ones. If it's on, I'll watch it. It's just a fun movie. I used to love the scene where he would, the dad, before the girls would go out, would make them put on this like pregnant belly suit.
Yeah.
Just so, you know, they know not to get knocked up.
Yeah.
Because he's an OBGYN, so he delivers babies. But yes, that scene always made me laugh. But yeah, great movie. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just watch it.
I think it's funny. You are picking these movies, these rom-coms that are probably, not to do the age difference thing that everyone loves that I do, that are probably more in line with my like teen years. And I'm picking these like 2011 movies. This next one I'm going to do is 2014. It shows you probably watched a lot of rom-coms when you were very young. And I didn't get to watching them until I was in my 20s and 30s in like relationships, because when I was a teenager, I had zero interest in these things.
Well, that's also like all of my friends had older siblings and older sisters. So we had access to these, whereas I'm the oldest sibling and like I wasn't watching MTV in my house.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
That Awkward Moment. It's my second movie. It's a 2014 romantic comedy. It stars Zac Efron, one of our favorite human beings here at So Many Screens. Miles Teller, who I think is like one of the most charming motherfuckers in Hollywood on the planet. Michael B. Jordan, right before he became the biggest athlete actor on the planet. Mackenzie Davis, Jessica Lucas. This entire movie is about this group of guy friends that are trying to figure out like early middle age, trying to figure out that weird time period, Kate, where you're like not 22 anymore. You're 26, 27. You got to figure out some like serious moves. You got to figure out where your career is going. You got to figure out if the girl you've been dating since college is actually the girl for you. You want to figure out if that girl who's one of your best friends is more than a friend to you. Great performances. It kind of encapsulates the movie's called That Awkward Moment, and it's referring to that moment when a girl or someone you're dating says to you, "What are we?" And I think it's a really like resonant, modern, interesting take. It's also an entire like Upper West Side vibe. It just makes me want to like live in Manhattan, put on like a sweater and a pair of boots and like walk around and like get some coffee and maybe watch some football and drink some beer. It's just got this like incredible feeling to it. It's a feeling that we are not experiencing right now and will not be experiencing this fall. I'm assuming you haven't seen it. Watch this movie.
No. I feel like I haven't seen like any movie from like 2010 to 2018.
What were you doing for those 8 years?
I was in college.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I was in college that entire time. So I don't know.
Kate got held back. What's your second one?
My second one is, sorry, I'm looking at my list. Or no, this is my third one now. Midnight in Paris. Have you seen this one?
I have seen this one. I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to hear yours first.
Yes. It's a Woody Allen movie, so take that with a grain of salt. I think he might be a little problematic.
Sure.
Stars Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams, a whole slew of other famous celebrities, and basically follows the story of those two in a relationship. They're in Paris. They're kind of fighting. And Owen Wilson's character just like wants to explore Paris, like enjoy the culture. He loves it. He wishes he could have lived in Paris in like the 20s. And then one night he's out exploring after a big fight with his fiance or wife. I forget if they're married. And somehow he time.
It's his fiance. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
His fiance, yes, okay. And he somehow time travels, and he ends up in Paris in the 1920s and meets all these old famous people. Like he meets Dali, the artist. He meets, who else does he meet?
Hemingway, Zelda
Yes.
Fitzgerald, F.
Yes,
Scott Fitzgerald. Yeah.
Yes, he meets everyone, basically. And it's just crazy because at one point, like, he meets this girl that he really likes. But she's like, I can't believe you'd ever want to live in Paris in this era. It's so much better at the turn of the century. And, like, so she wishes she could time travel back. And it's all kind of about, like, I don't know, has themes of living in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's just a great movie. I love all of the way, like, these big historical characters are portrayed. And Paris is just beautiful. So that's a movie I love.
I saw this in theaters in 2011, so I was 23, and I didn't really get it. I was like, this is annoying. He's going back in time every night and just acting like it's totally normal and like not really telling anybody. Why isn't this a bigger deal? How do the mechanics of the time travel work? Like, is things he's doing in the past like affecting the future? Or do we have a Back to the Future 2 situation here? I was like way in my head about it. And then I grew up a bit. 5 years went by. I went to Paris. I viewed this movie again probably 2-3 years ago and loved it because it's not about time travel. It's about like wish fulfillment and like living in the present, as you just said. It's got some really adult themes about like, don't waste your time now with someone you don't want to be with. Don't look back too fondly on how things used to be, because you always have rose-colored glasses when you look back on things. And just enjoy everyone and everything around you, and the happy memories will come. I really liked it. There's some incredible performances by some like actors in here early in their career. Michael Sheen, Adrian Brody, Thomas Hiddleston, like really, really incredible cast playing these iconic, I was about to say American, iconic, figures in European history. We forgot to mention Picasso. We forgot to mention Cole Porter. Like it's really cool. It's a little far-fetched to me that he's just like hanging out with like the 12 most famous people who've ever lived in Paris. But I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Reunites McAdams and Owen Wilson after Wedding Crashers. It's a good one. I recommend it to anybody.
Yes. I need to watch that movie again. That's my thing, though. Like, I know you're saying I need to watch these movies that you're telling me to watch, but I'll just go and rewatch a movie that I already have seen a million times.
Well, I mean, we talked about that. That's comfort food.
Yeah.
It's like really like uncertain times right now, not to be ironic, but like there's really no end in sight to this. I don't want to watch something that will potentially upset me or make me confused or at least dislike it. You know that you liked Midnight in Paris. You're rewatching Midnight in Paris. I totally get it.
Yeah, great movie. I also saw that one in theaters when it came out.
But you loved it as opposed to me.
Yeah, I didn't really think about the logistics, but I can get it. But I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I need to go to Paris. It's the most beautiful city in the world. And I've never been there.
It rains a lot. That didn't really take place in the movie, but it rains a lot in Paris.
Ireland rains a lot. And when I went, it was sunny every single day.
That's funny.
So there you go.
Yeah. All right. My third entry, it's more of a series of movies. And we were talking about this before we tipped off our top 5. The 2005-2008 Judd Apatow director-producer run of 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Those are about finding love and relationship stuff. One's about a breakup, one's about an early pregnancy, and one is about a man basically just trying to get laid. But it's got all this other stuff to it that we were talking about earlier. It's got a ton of Tom to the rom-com. It's got a lot of bros being bros moments, which is a category I had in one of my previous podcasts. There's more funny moments than actual romantic moments. A lot of the female characters aren't as fleshed out as they should be, but I don't know. I'd say of all three of those, Forgetting Sarah Marshall is probably the closest to a rom-com, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably the more relationship-based one.
Because the entire plot revolves around him getting over this girl and trying to move on with his life. But with most Judd Apatow movies, we talked about this when we talked about the Teen of Staten Island in episode 2 of this podcast. they're all way too long. They're about 25 minutes too long. There's all these extra side characters. There's all this improv riffing going on. I mean, they're right up my alley. I love that shit. But I could see where that might not fit the definition of a perfect rom-com.
Yeah, see, those are all movies I own all those on DVD that I got from like the Walmart $5 bin.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while. But if one of those movies is on, I'm stopping the remote and watching. If I'm catching it at a good part, like I'll tune in. But I'm not going to like pop that DVD into my DVD player.
Yeah, I feel like there was a period of time where like I just had those movies on rotation. That is all I watched.
Yeah.
Like an entire summer. Okay, my next movie is the classic When Harry Met Sally.
This is like the #1 romantic comedy of all time.
I think so. And it's actually very embarrassing. I have just seen it for the first time like a few months ago. So this is not one I've seen a ton of times. It came out in 1989. Very before my time, but a classic. It's just like one of those stories about will they or won't they, stars aligning, two compatible people that just can't get the timing right. I feel like it was kind of like the blueprint for so many movies to come. And of course, we have Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. So great cast. I love really pretty much any rom-com that Meg Ryan is in, but that one in particular I think is the best.
Yeah, there's not more I can say about how good When Harry Met Sally is. Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan at their peaks probably. Very relatable. Can guys and girls be friends? It kind of answers that question or struggles with that question throughout it. New York in the fall. That awkward moment has like those same vibes, but in a much more modern setting. I don't know. The only thing that like really makes me question this movie is like Billy Crystal. Is he really that attractive? How is he pulling all of these like incredibly sexy women, including a 1989 era's Meg Ryan? Is it because he's funny? We know that funniness knocks you up a few notches, but
I mean, yeah, he has one hell of an accent, but I guess it's his humor. Also, I just love the part where he does the white man's overbite.
Yeah.
Like, my dad always does that, and I didn't put two and two together until I watched that movie for the first time. I was like, do you get this from that movie? And you're like, no, it was just a thing back in the day. But that's a great movie. I just love it.
Okay, my fourth rom-com, I won't spend too much time on it because we did talk about it before when we were talking about our favorite movie soundtracks. This is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and it's High Fidelity. The 2000 American comedy film directed by Stephen Frears with John Cusack, Jack Black, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Joan Cusack, and Lisa Bonet. It's based on the 1995 British novel the same name by Nick Hornby. It's about a record shop owner who gets dumped by his girlfriend, and he goes back through all of his previous relationships to find out just what went wrong. I love the movie because it's filmed on the northwest side of Chicago in Wicker Park. There's some just indelible scenes of Cusack talking to the camera. It's one of those movies where like breaking the fourth wall and addressing the audience works perfectly. A scene that stands out to me that I think about all the time is he's like, okay, she's at lunch with her girlfriend right now, and it keeps cutting in between his ex-girlfriend talking to her friend, who's played by his sister, Joan Cusack, and he's like, and she's bringing up one of 5 things that I did to her. I borrowed money from her. I cheated on her. There are 3 other bad things that he did. I'm forgetting me. And this whole time, he's walking across the street. He walks up the L tracks. He goes through the turnstiles and sits down on the L train, and the train starts moving, and the camera's following him as he talks to it. And like he basically admits, he's like, and the question is, did I do those things? Yes, I did. Yes, I did those. Yes, I did do those things. I am the asshole who needs a fucking drink. It's like one of these moments that's just so like relatable. Guys are not great. People are not great in relationships. In long-term relationships, they do super shitty things to each other. And this movie like resonated with me at 18. I've watched it probably 25 times since. It's so good. They made a Netflix. They made a Hulu series on it that starred Lisa Bonet's daughter, Zoe Kravitz. Canceled too soon. They just announced it with an iconic soundtrack. Check out anything and everything related to High Fidelity. whether it's the book, the 2000 movie, or the 2019 Hulu show. It's all money.
I also cannot believe that Jason Momoa is Zoe Kravitz's stepdad.
Wait, because he's dating Lisa Bonet.
Yeah, they're married.
That's
so that would make
crazy.
her his stepdaughter.
That
kind of, basically.
Yeah, the stepdaughter, but yeah, no blood relation. That is a very attractive family. I'll leave it at that.
I know. Yeah, she's a cradle robber.
Good for her. What What's your last rom-com?
My last rom-com is a 2017 movie, The Big Sick.
Yes.
I texted you about this earlier because this is I kind of think it's underrated. It's such a great storyline. It stars Zoe Kazan. Is it Kazan?
Mm-hmm.
Kazan. Zoe Kazan, and she plays Emily. And I'm going to butcher his name.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Exactly. He plays himself, which is the crazy thing. This is based off of a true story. It is based off of him. He starts dating Emily. Something kind of happens and they break up. But she gets very sick. And I don't want to give away the whole story of the movie because you really need to watch it. It's amazing. But it just kind of follows her getting sick, her parents coming into town, him interacting with her parents, and the series of events to follow. But it's based off of him and his wife. Yeah, his wife's real story, which is insane if you watch a movie and you put this together. I don't know. Every time I watch it, I'm amazed that this is a real thing that happened to him. It's really heartwarming, has a good soundtrack. This is one of those movies my parents tried to get me to go see with them, and I was like, I don't really want to go. And then I'm really glad I went. It was so good.
Yeah.
Everyone should go watch it. Go rent it. It's a good, I don't know, Friday night movie.
Yeah. It's an Amazon Prime exclusive. So it's free on Amazon Prime. He wrote and directed it. Did he direct it? I think he directed it.
I don't know. I know it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was nominated. It's based on Kumail's life story about his early years doing comedy in Chicago. That resonated with me a lot. I mean, his wife is nothing short of a superhero for what she went through. The fact that they found some humor in it and turned it into such a heartwarming, endearing film. Ray Romano should have won an Academy Award for his supporting role of Emily's father. The little moments that him and Kumail share in the hospital, back at his apartment, are some of the funniest things I saw on film that year. I can't say enough good things about everyone involved in this movie, and I completely agree. It belongs on every top 5 rom-com list, right up there with When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I think it has the fact that it's a true story just blows my mind. But it has all of the good components of a good rom-com. It's funny. It's romantic. It's actually heartwarming and touching. Also, shout out to Holly Hunter. I also love her.
She's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Great call. So I kind of ended mine with High Fidelity. That was probably my peak. I'm going to give you a guilty pleasure rom-com. It's more rom than com. I was having trouble filling this fourth slot, Kate, because I don't watch an extraordinary amount of rom-coms. So this is a movie... I know you've never seen it. It's called The Lake House. It's a 2006 movie starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. They had previously starred together in the award-winning action drama Speed. It's a remake of a South Korean motion picture. It is about 2 people, one person in the year 2006, one person in the year 2008, who both own the same lake house and can communicate with each other through time travel.
I feel like I have seen this a very long time ago.
It is so ridiculous. He's an architect. She's a doctor. They're leaving each other letters in the mailbox of the home that they live in. But since they both live at 2 separate times, they figure it out very early on. It is an absurd premise, and that is taken so seriously that in my head, I was like, I want this to be my next wife. Or my next girlfriend, my next wife, Jesus Christ. Like my next girlfriend, like I want to correspond with a woman from the past and like help her find herself. And one day we will be reunited in the present. It is so like heavy-handed. And I love it because it takes place in Chicago. It's filmed in Chicago. It takes place entirely. She works in the Loop. The lake house is like up on 95th Street or some bullshit. Like it's quite a film. That's all I got to say about it. If you want to watch them, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm looking at like the movie poster and it's just so corny. Looks like a romance novel.
It is a romance novel. It is such a guilty pleasure. I think I saw it when I was 2006. So I was 17, 18 years old. I was like probably in my high school senior year, went with my girlfriend, and it was like, that was epic. Afterwards, like I'm sure she was crying. I was like, babe, that'll never happen to us.
Oh my God. Wow.
Good.
No, I was gonna ask a really off-topic question. I was gonna ask if you remember the first movie you ever saw without parent chaperones.
Oh, that's a great question. Wow.
I genuinely don't know. Mine.
What is yours?
Mine was School of Rock. And basically, like 36 graders from Algonquin Middle School met up at the movie theater, and we took up like all these rows.
Yep.
Yeah. We probably were really fucking annoying.
School of Rock, which low T shreds. That movie is awesome.
It is a great movie.
I genuinely don't know what it is. I'll have to think on this. This was a lot of fun, Kate.
It was.
As always.
Yes. Yeah, and everyone, don't make fun of my bedroom.
Yeah, if you have to make fun of anything, make fun of my wicker guest room here. It's not as bad as Kate's bedroom, but it's easy. Just be nice to Kate. That's all I'm asking.
And yeah, I'll plug ourselves again. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at So Many Screens, and mash that subscribe button, people. Review, rate,
5-star reviews.
Yeah,
Yep.
5 stars.
Give it to us. I'm at JR. We'll do it on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, and I'm at The Real Cat Pat.
Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Peace sign. All right, that's good.